So today what we're going to do is talk about the 4 most basic functions that every business student should know when using Excel. So the first thing would be, if you look here on the right, we have our objectives. The first thing would be name a data range. The second is to create a pivot table. The third is to learn how to use a sorting function. And the fourth is to learn how to create an if statement. So let's just jump on in. So the first thing I want to do is name the data range that I'm going to be working with today. If you look on the left here, I have a chart pulled from Auburn University's website, and this just basically states the number of students enrolled in each program, whether it be graduate and professional or an undergraduate program. So first, what I'm going to do is highlight my entire data range. And if you look up here on the left, you can see this B3. You're going to erase that, and I'm going to name this data range Auburn, and click Enter. So now if you click off and then highlight again, you can see that it's called Auburn. So this next thing we're going to do is create a pivot table. So I'm going to select the cell that I want my pivot table to begin in, and I'm going to select this one, click Insert up here at the top, select Pivot Table, and here you can see it's asking for a table or a range. And I'm going to type in Auburn because that is the data range that we just named. And then down here you can see this is a cell that I had selected for my pivot table to begin in. You're going to click OK. And now what you're going to see on the right here are the 3 columns that are included in our data range. So the first thing I'm going to do is click College and School. The next thing I'm going to do is click Enrollment. And I actually want my enrollment to be a column. No, actually, I want my level to be a column. And that will show both graduate and professional as well as undergraduate here. And then this third column will be grand total. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to highlight this whole thing and click Home and select all borders. And that just makes it a little more clear to read. So if we look here at our pivot table, what we can see are the number of students enrolled in each graduate program, as well as the number of students enrolled in each undergraduate program. And you can see here this blank. That is because we do not have an undergraduate program for pharmacy or for veterinary medicine. The next thing I'm going to do is talk about how to use the sorting function. So if I go up here to the top right corner, I'm going to click Sort and Filter. Well, actually first what I have to do is highlight my data range. And now I'm going to click Sort and Filter and select Filter. And what this does is it adds these little arrows up at the top of each column. And if you click on the arrow, you'll be given a choice to filter however you want. So I can unselect graduate and professional, and that will just show me my undergraduate programs. Or I can select it and do ascending to descending, and that will sort it based on alphabetical order. So graduate being first and undergraduate being second, and I can do the same thing for each of these. So that sorts it based on A to Z based on college and school, and I can do the same for my enrollment. Okay, and now if you just want to unapply your filters, all you have to do is click clear or unclick the filter button, and that just gets rid of your filter. Okay, and the final thing we want to do is create an if statement. So I'm going to create a new column, and I'm going to call it graduate question mark. And what I want to see here is whether or not this row here is a graduate or an undergraduate. So I'm going to click all borders. And the first thing you want to do in creating an if statement is always start with equal sign if open parentheses. And here it's going to ask you for a logical test. So my test is going to be whether or not this column here is graduate and professional or undergraduate. So I'm going to click if B4 equals quotation marks because we're using a text, graduate and professional, close quotations, comma. Now it's going to say value if true. So if the statement is true, I want it to say yes. And if it is false, I want the cell to say no. Close parentheses, enter. So here you can see it says yes because it is true that this is a graduate and professional program. So now, in order to make this statement apply to all of these boxes in the data range, I'm just going to double click on that black arrow in the corner. And now it applies to every cell in the data range. So that is it for today. We just learned how to create a data range, create a pivot table, use our sorting function, and create an if statement. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this makes using Excel a little bit easier.